This is Quantum Flow Radio, organizing thought particles into a flow of collective consciousness.
Quiet on the set.
3, 2, 1, ready? Action! Hollywood, swimming pools, movie stars.
Cinema, film, motion pictures.
Guess what we're talking about today?
Yeah.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah, we're going to talk about everything movies.
Yeah, you're
film,
a big movie buff, so that's a big thing.
One of the biggest. I've watched more movies than probably the average person.
Yeah.
I can honestly say that. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it does. In fact, many years ago when home video was just beginning, I had some video stores.
Oh.
And one of the big things was, if we want to know what we're talking about, you got to watch the movies. So we'd put them on in the store and, movie after movie after movie. Then we go home and we watch them movie after movie after movie. So, I had this, great love affair with so many films during those days.
They've always wanted to put movies in our lap.
Yeah.
Not that they're forcing us to watch, but hey, there's a lot of information there.
Well, yeah, and there is an agenda, which you and I talk about every now and then.
There is. Because movies put you into a semi-conscious hypnotic state.
How about that?
Yeah.
Kind of like music.
Sure. And therefore, it's easily influencing you with information and agenda-based narrative.
Well, they got you. You're captive audience at that point,
and
especially if you're in a theater.
And it doesn't matter if you like this genre or this genre, comedy, horror. The messaging and everything is coming to you.
And guess what? If a bunch of people haven't seen these movies yet, we'll have an award show every year.
Sure, that no one will watch.
Yeah, and bring attention and make this big glamorous thing, and then people who didn't see the film might go out and see it,
right,
and get our message.
Sure,
yeah, or just entertainment.
It's all entertainment.
Yeah. But
let me entertain you.
Right. So where are we going to start with this thing today, my friend?
Well, let's just figure out the definition here. What is a movie?
Okay.
I guess it's a motion picture,
Yeah.
a photo play. It's a moving picture, almost kind of like stop motion in its original origins.
Right.
So we can define it like this. Movies, a series of still images that when shown on a screen create the illusion of moving images.
Yeah, which is exactly what consciousness is. Our
How about that?
subconscious mind sees individual images and then threads them together into a moving
Mind
picture.
Control.
Exactly.
You've heard this.
I have.
Oh, this goes very, very deep. We can't avoid it. Everyone, I don't know anybody that doesn't want to sit down and watch a movie.
Yeah,
And,
I don't either.
Yeah. There was days when I had time, I could watch 2 or 3 movies in a day.
How about that? Wow.
Yeah, it was difficult.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Stay awake for it.
Sure. I always thought I could be a movie critic.
Yeah.
I could, because I could write about, what's really going on behind the scenes and stuff like that. But no, I go way back, and we will go way back. We're going to go back to movie origins. Like, how did...
To the beginning.
To the beginning. How did this all start? Like, how did Hollywood land become about?
Yeah.
Because
the land part used to be up on the hill, too.
Yeah.
With the Hollywood sign.
Before we get to the history and all the fun things, let's just talk about the different types of movies.
Okay.
And these can be put into 2 different categories.
Okay.
Generally.
All right.
Okay. One,
Yep.
let me entertain you.
Okay.
Okay. So it's entertainment for fun.
Yeah.
For the pure enjoyment.
Yep.
For watching people that can act, watching the cinematography, watching the wordplay.
Yeah. And
the
this would also
lighting,
include
the music,
musicals and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, just it's a work. It's an artwork.
Yeah.
And depends on what level you bring it to.
Sure.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High, of course, is one of the highest art pieces ever created. No,
magnificent.
Just
Yeah.
but you get what I'm
I
talking
do,
about,
dude.
Yeah. Mr. Hand.
So the second then.
The second one, which is a whole lot more interesting and what we're going to really kind of focus on today, is called the programmed or programming type movie. This is movies that have messaging, and they influence us on a conscious and subconscious level. And again, that gets to mind control.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, could that also qualify documentaries?
Yeah, well, it's
so
fun.
because of whatever they're after or whatever their point is to be made, right?
Well, but you're perfect at segueing into the next section because I do have a nice list of 10 different types of movie types.
Okay.
I think I used types too many times in that sentence, but these are the different genres.
It's a typo.
Within okay. So we have comedy,
Yeah.
sci-fi, science fiction, horror,
Okay.
romance, action, adventure, and like superhero.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be like the fourth kind. 5, drama. 6, mystery.
Okay.
7, crime.
Crime. Yeah.
8, animation, cartoon.
Right.
9, fantasy.
Okay.
And 10, documentary. Now, there's other kinds. There's also like Western musicals and historical and stuff, but they all kind of follow into these 10 general types. And sure, there's more, but these are if you go see a movie, you could probably put them into one of those categories. What do you think?
We're excluding the adult film industry at this point.
Well, yeah, we're not going to talk about Disney. Oh, excuse me. I didn't know that Disney was involved in pornographic material, but guess what? They are.
Yeah, well, we'll do that show on another day.
No, it might be a little bit on this show because I wanted to.
You're gonna touch on that?
No, I don't want to touch anything, especially when it comes to Walt Disney, that dirty old man.
But a brilliant businessman, though.
Hey, I guess you could say some good things about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was definitely some sick agendas going on even way back in the day in the 30s and 40s of kind of subliminal type programming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
kids.
Is it true that Mickey was actually named after Mickey Rooney? I'd heard that.
Yeah, I don't think I think that might be correct.
Yeah.
At least the name was
Derived from
it
that.
was very catchy at that time. And Mickey, everyone heard of it.
Yeah, especially
Mickey
Mickey
Rooney.
Mouse. Yeah,
Yeah, Mickey Mouse.
it
Yeah.
works.
But Mickey Mouse looked quite different than he does today. He
Totally
looked more like a mouse.
Yeah. Well, everything, but it's
It's become more cartoonish.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's Darwinism.
Yeah, I guess so.
Darwinism.
The evolution of Mickey Mouse.
Right.
And when did Minnie really come into this?
I don't know. I guess probably right after The Bride of Frankenstein. Right? Everybody's got to have their thing.
I was never really a big fan. You know,
I wasn't either.
although I could do his voice. Hi, friends.
Yeah, see, I was a Hanna-Barbera guy.
Well, yeah,
I love all
Flintstones.
the stuff Flintstones, Jetsons. I love all the stuff that came out of Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of more TV based, but the movies specifically, we should ask a question,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
Who is making these movies?
Yeah.
Who
Wait.
are?
Wait, in proposing a question, you would assume that there's an answer.
No, I'm just asking the question.
Okay, good.
Okay, I'm
So
going
I
to
don't
ask.
have to- I
I'm
don't
going to
have
ask
to come
4
up with an
questions.
answer. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Who's making these movies?
Okay, 1.
Who are the people, the money behind it?
Okay.
Okay. Why is it being made?
Mm-hmm.
And who profits?
Mm.
Because some movies are made and they don't make a profit. In fact, half the movies that are made and maybe even more never
Right. Never.
make a penny.
Yep.
The cost of them are just, So maybe movies, they could rewrite history
Why not?
or write history
Yeah.
for some.
Sure. Present it to us as history.
They're history lessons in movie form. So if you watched, and one disturbing movie, I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, was I watched the Spielberg movie Lincoln.
Okay.
I didn't even I couldn't finish watching it because it was so disturbing.
Really?
Well, the history was rewritten so much.
Just twisted.
Yeah, it's twisted. And I'm not going to get into.
But there were some cool camera angles, I'm sure.
Sure, and I guess the acting was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as the reason all these movies are being made, you do have to kind of scratch your head, and who's the money behind it.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Sure, and then what happens is, particularly like movies like that, if somebody is not a history buff and has not, looked back over the years and done their own research, then they're just going to take that and say, okay, well, that's how it happened.
Yeah. And the amount of movies that are redone,
Yeah.
the same movie, like A Star Is Born,
Yeah.
has been done 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Is there a point?
I-
Was it that bad the second time it was done with Judy Garland?
Yeah.
Or the third time with Barbra Streisand?
Yeah.
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 So it's perplexing.
Yeah, because it's not exactly a continuation or the next chapter or
No.
the next part of it. It's just a remake.
And if you redid a song 4 or 5 times, which sometimes they are.
Sometimes they do, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they do, but it's more unusual to see that.
Yep.
So, but with that being said, we can kind of coattail right into the history.
Yeah.
Of how it all started.
The farm.
Before even maybe electricity,
Mm-hmm.
or as electricity was coming into being, they, were taking photography, and then they realized they could take subsequent shots and then create kind of a film out of this. It's literally like stop motion.
Yeah.
But so fast nowadays, the quality of film is almost like the eye.
Yeah.
Almost like real life. We're seeing it. They are individual shots. You wouldn't still think that, but it's just so seamless.
Well, it has to be. There can be no other way.
Right. Yeah. So, do you know where it all began? Do you know where the very, very origins of maybe where some of these people came from that had the concept of movie making and everything? I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, no, I do know that it originated at a farm, basically.
A farm?
What was farmland at that time?
Oh, you're talking about Hollywood land.
Yeah, the actual basis.
Yeah. I'm going.
Base. Oh, you're going to the home base for actually films or the actual.
Well, yeah,
movies.
some of it started in France.
Okay.
But it really was Hollywood was really the first big time movie making industry in the world. But who started that?
Yeah,
where did
that
it come from? So, let's go back to Eastern Europe.
Okay.
Mostly Eastern European Jews from Russia and Ukraine.
Okay.
They came over here. They were considered movie moguls. They came to America to set up the motion picture industry. I read a book all about this years ago.
Yeah.
It's quite fascinating. They decided to do it near Los Angeles because it was farmland, but the reason why you could go there at this point, it was before there wasn't much water service to this area.
Okay.
They had the huge water pipelines, and they eventually could bring water and then buildings and houses and built up civilization in around this area.
Yeah.
So the land was relatively cheap.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a new frontier.
Sure.
And they had all this, beautiful scenery right there.
Yeah.
So they said, hey, we'll just set up shop here.
Yeah.
And obviously one day they put up the big sign on the hill that said Hollywood. But originally it said Hollywood Land.
Yeah.
And then they took off the land.
Yeah.
I guess it became too expensive to keep.
Yeah, too many light bulbs.
Yeah.
Too much paint.
But
considering how the ground shakes, it may have just fallen off.
So you had the likes of Goldwyn, Mayer, Cohn, Zucker. It was definitely Jewish Zionist type based people.
Yeah.
And they came here with the intent of setting up shops. And what they would do is not only the movie making, but it was really a business. They needed to show the movies. And obviously you didn't have your iPad at home to watch Netflix.
Right.
So they had to create movie theaters.
Yeah.
So this is where, you've heard of Lowe's Theaters. Well, Lowe's was a guy who started, hey, we're going to buy this little corner here and create a movie theater, or what they would call cinemas at the time.
Cinema,
Yeah, movie houses and stuff like this. Some of the main purpose of this was not only entertainment, but this is where people would get their news stories. You've heard of newsreels.
Yeah.
This was extremely important, at least for conditioning us and programming propaganda during World War II.
Yeah.
So in the 30s and the 40s, you would go to the movie, you'd take in an afternoon, watch a movie, watch a newsreel. It would tell you exactly what's going on, how the Americans are fighting the Germans or whatever.
Yeah.
And all in one afternoon, you could be, raising your flag for your patriotism for your home country while hating another country, having never gone there, met anybody, and you've been conditioned. Now, sure, they're showing you film strips of, people blowing each other up.
Yeah.
So you can decipher that, hey, these people are bad.
Right.
But then
it's all part
you
of the
may
indoctrination.
but it's all packaged for you to think a certain way.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and it's been that way since day one.
Yeah.
So,
are you the one that told me what news actually?
Yeah, north, east, west, and south. It's,
having to do with the teletype reporting that was going on at the time.
Right. I wish we could just do away with all of it right now because the news has become all encompassing.
Oh yeah.
It's just too much.
It's just a movie.
So Hollywood, the name Hollywood, if you look at the word holly wood. It's a tree.
Yeah.
The holly wood, they would take that wood and they would make like a wand out of it.
Yep.
The wand was a magic wand.
With a star at the end.
There you go, with the star at the end.
Like Mickey's.
Exactly, like Mickey's.
Yeah.
So they were creating magic, and if you know about magi, this is not necessarily a great thing.
Yeah.
You know, everyone talks about magic, but when you talk about magic and stars, these are very
white magic, black magic, all that stuff.
It's all satanic. Let's just get to the bottom. It's just
because
it's evil, really.
Yeah, it's just a different look at things, you know, because words are always twisted. You know that they take words and twist them. Well, magi, you know, from the Greek, which is magisa or whatever, is also among the Greeks. They talk about that being like a curse or a bad thing, right? But among other types of beliefs into it, it's actually wisdom or wise men, or that's why the 3 wise men were the magi.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just it's all confusing. It really is, and that's part of the whole design.
We're here to bring clarity to this,
exactly,
to some degree.
Yep.
So as we move forward a little bit, there's some people that are very integral in setting this up, and there's a guy named D.W. Griffith. He's considered the pioneer of modern cinema. Okay. He was a director, writer, kind of cameraman, and when you look at movies being made, and we're talking, 1902 to like 1920 was when, the silent era was really, well, actually 25 was when the silent era was in its heyday.
Yeah.
And
heyday. See, and there were barns there. You talk about there were barns. And those original movie studios were at one time barns back in the early, 1910s, 1915s.
All the backlot operations, and they had enough land there they could just keep buying and and just do
anything.
So when they wanted to shoot the Old West, guess what? They didn't have to go to Colorado or Montana. They could do it on the backlots of Los Angeles.
Exactly,
right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Until the cars and the buildings started sneaking into the movie scenes.
then at that point, then they just went digital, and they don't
took it out.
I don't think they even have to act anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's just all.
It's an app.
Yeah, it's an app.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for everything.
Yeah. So go ahead. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, and I feel like maybe I'm talking too much, but I'm just providing information here. So the first films that were actually made that had any notoriety, starting in 1902, there was a movie called A Trip to the Moon, and we've talked about this movie before.
Yeah.
This is where in 1902 the spaceship looks exactly like the one they sent to the moon in 1968.
Aluminum foil and cardboard.
Well, it actually looked better in this movie. Yeah, and it actually looked more real in 1902 than it did in 1968.
This was the first movie. No.
The very, very this was one of the very first movies. There were some movies in the 1800s, but this was one of notoriety.
Okay.
The Great Train Robbery was one of the biggest, like people would hear about and say, well, you got to go see this movie. That was 1904.
Okay.
All
right.
Then a little bit later,
and these were not talkies.
No,
these were all silent films.
These were all silent films accompanied with maybe music, instrumentals,
a live piano player.
Sometimes,
or something.
Sometimes it was almost like a play without talking.
Yeah,
and sometimes you'd hear sound effects, but basically it was just words on the screen if people were talking.
Yeah.
The cool thing is that here's where really movie making began, because instead of maybe taking one full shot, they would do different angles and stuff. And like Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin, which we'll talk about, really took this to the next level.
Yeah.
This is where there was great creative genius.
Yeah.
Just flowing.
Yeah.
We can point the fingers at some of these moguls that came over and said, okay, well, we're going to set this up. But we cannot dispute that movies in just its beautiful form are works of art.
Sure.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Just magnificent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a few other...
might want to leave Texas Chainsaw out of that, but...
But see,
but for some it is.
But see, the fact that the mere mention of it in this conversation shows that it's made a mark.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So another really... And most people haven't heard of these movies, so that's why we're talking about them. There was another movie in 1915 called Birth of a Nation.
Okay.
This was the true patriotic movie.
All right.
And it was a beautiful movie about like how America came into being America. And there again, kind of a documentary or maybe an agenda-based one, but probably more truthful information on this than what you'd get maybe today.
Right. In a history book.
In a history book, right. Then it became a little bit more creative. There was, we mentioned Chaplin because he had some of the best earth-shattering, record-breaking movies.
Yeah.
And he had stuff like The Kid, The Gold Rush. I think The Gold Rush was in 25.
Charlie was a
The Tramp.
creative genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had, and then later in his life, he had City Lights, The Great Dictator, which we talked about,
God.
one of our favorites,
Awesome,
and then Modern Times, which if you really want to see something and look at the future, kind of like a 1984, or there's another movie which was really amazing in 1929.
Metropolis.
Oh,
wow!
Just so
how cool was that, right?
Beyond cool.
Yeah.
And so
1929.
and the messaging and what they're the foretelling.
Yeah.
It's almost as if there was a crystal ball. Nostradamus was almost directing. It's like, hey, this is going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
Just
Like
wow.
Another
Gives me chills.
an early George Orwell.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. And these people, and you see it even today, because there's programming, like some say, The Simpsons, and there's some of those other cartoons where they'll see it, and then 20 years later,
boom, there it is.
oh my God.
It's like, Trump on an
You
escalator.
saw this or
I
something
saw
like that, yeah.
The things like that.
or the
Amazing.
Twin Towers.
The Twin
Who
Towers,
knows?
yeah.
It's just, we're just touching on that, and there's some great actors that were coming out at this time.
Yeah.
You had the likes of Mary Pickford,
Yeah.
Douglas Fairbanks.
Fairbanks,
This
yeah.
was all during the not the talkies.
Yep.
Okay. Lillian Gish.
Barrymore.
Yeah.
All those
Rudolph Valentino, who was
Valentino,
the
yeah.
heartthrob, and he died at like 26.
Wow.
And it was just, whew. That's
Wow.
like,
It was 26. I didn't hear that.
or maybe it was 32.
Well,
he
either
was young.
way, it's young.
But yeah, he was young.
Yeah.
It was a real surprise, but I mean, it was like the first, heartthrob for Hollywood.
Right.
Now, there was one movie that I do want to mention. There was a 1927 pivotal movie, The Jazz Singer.
Okay.
Okay.
The original one.
The
Not Neil Diamond.
Yeah, not Neil Diamond, but the original jazz singer. I guess he was patting himself on the back. Going,
I
I am
guess.
the jazz singer.
Yeah.
So, but this was the first.
Jolson, wasn't it?
Al Jolson?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna walk a million miles
Yeah,
for
yeah.
one of your smiles.
Yeah.
Mammy. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So, I keep popping here.
It's okay.
But that's the first, talkie. And it's amazing. If you go back and see that, how clear it was. And the singing was amazing.
Was that the first talkie?
Yeah. But, they can't show it anymore because he wears blackface
Well, yeah, the
in it.
blackface, yeah.
So it's taboo.
Yeah. Well,
That
there's a
shows
lot of
you.
things like that, but they make their own rules too. Because, like for example, I'm sorry, just to touch on that real quick.
No, bring it.
When I found this little piece of trivia, which I thought was interesting. When the sign Hollywoodland was erected in 1923, its original purpose was to advertise the name of a new segregated whites-only housing development in the hills above the Hollywood district of L.A. Now, I don't know much about that, but that's a little disturbing,
If that is true, the problem is that people are bringing up all this stuff now and trying to use that as a wedge and keep continuing to segregate us. I'd like to say, okay, if that was the case, we've grown up. We've moved on.
It's history.
It's history.
It's done.
There's no, you bring it up for reference here,
Right.
but we're not going to, none of us like it.
No, it's horrible.
Yeah.
But LA also had, in this whole area here, there was Tinseltown because of the sort of, shiny, bright, unreal nature of
It is
some of
unreal,
these
too.
folks. Yeah. And then La La Land for Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
And then when
Great name for a movie, huh? La La Land.
Exactly. And then, of course, City of Angels, Los Angeles, which was a shortened version of the original name of the movie. But I mean, the
City of
place.
Angels.
Yeah, City of Angels. But yeah, so all this stuff was taking place.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden comes these talkies.
And it changed everything.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once the talkies, and they could, it was easier to convey a message when the person was talking right at you.
Yep.
On the screen.
Yep.
Again, when you watch movies, when you're about a minute or two in and you've settled into your chair and you're all comfy, you're put into a hypnotic state. Your brain goes, woo, and you're just gone.
The lights go down.
If the movie sucks, about 5 minutes in, you wake up and go, I don't want to watch this. And you get yourself out of it. But if the movie's really, really good, you sit there and you forget about time. You forget about that you had that headache. You forget about that you had to be somewhere half an hour ago. And you're just gone and you're lost. Yeah. And it is nice because it is escapism to a certain degree.
Sure.
And sometimes, you know, you may be having a day where, hey, I just want to go escape.
Yeah.
Then again, some of these movies are programming you without you even knowing it.
Yeah.
So you may have escaped into a prison or of some sort.
Yeah. So but you have to sort of kind of sometimes we don't know which side of the wall we're on.
No.
Or the fence.
Yeah.
You know, are we in the prison or are we out of the prison? You know,
maybe both sides are.
Yeah, exactly. But your point is well taken. When you go into that that arena, okay, the doors close, the lights come down, you're in a nice comfy seat.
Especially back in the day when you really went to the movie theater.
Yeah.
It was an experience.
Yeah.
You know, how many of you
got dressed up, you wore your finest clothing, guys had their hats.
You made an afternoon out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of just, you know, whipping down to the living room. Unless you have a theater in your house.
Right. Which a lot of people did back then.
And some people do now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this,
I hate those people.
Can you imagine before the talkies? I know we're talking about the talkies now, but with the silent films and you're watching the newsreels. Remember, the newsreels were also silent. So, you know, whatever's going on there is you're reading the screen, you're watching. I mean, it's really, there's a lot of stuff going on that requires your senses.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The newsreels, though, really didn't become prominent until talkies were, and more into the 30s.
Okay.
Speaking of the 30s, this is where things changed because, you know, a lot of these actors who were in the silent era couldn't make it in the talkies.
Yeah.
Because they go, you look beautiful, say the line. I wish I could if I could, but I can't.
Exactly.
You know, so, hey, forget it. You don't have the voice.
Charlie.
Well, Charlie, he was one of the few, and there was a few people that actually transitioned, but not many. Usually, soon as the talkies came in, it was a new batch of actors like Gable, Cagney, Tracy, Grant, Cooper.
Yeah.
All guys, sorry, but I mean, you know, you get the point.
But crazy enough, I just, in my mind,
Mae
head,
West.
I rattled off all their first names. So obviously, it's made an impression. You know?
Well, I'm talking like I know them, and you know, I don't have to say their whole name, but you know, today we look at the actors as, you know, today it's DiCaprio or Christian Bale, and of these sorts, or you know, Nicole Kidman or whoever, Tom Cruise.
Sure.
The fact is that things really haven't changed that much as far as that. These people are still celebrities that put on pedestals, and we hold them in high regard, even though they really know nothing about us.
Yeah.
And we look to them for advice, even in politics. I have no idea why.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because they are totally clueless when it comes to this.
And then isn't it interesting, though, that when you're in that position, these celebrities, and you have so many fans and followers, and then you screw up on something, and then they all just turn on you.
Yeah.
And you're done.
Yeah, you're done.
Your career's over.
You walk a very, you know, for fame and fortune, especially if you've made a deal.
Rope.
If you made a deal, you have to abide by that deal. And if you don't, I'm talking about there's a deal that you sign a contract and get money, and then there's another deal that you're signing.
Yeah.
And a contract.
Yeah, that one.
If you don't play by their rules, then you're out.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you speak out, or you're too vocal, or you're on the wrong side of the argument.
Yep, you're done.
Yeah, you're done.
Yep. If they want you
Your
done.
career is over.
If they want you done.
If they want you done.
If they don't want you done, then you're unaffected.
And they may use you for another purpose.
Right. That was the dramatic silence. Okay.
Well, we have to add drama to this.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Because, you know, so, I'm being a little bit more colorful today, you know. So these directors were really a key component, and that's kind of the last component of this. Directors weren't really, you know, now you hear about Spielberg and all these guys, you know, the famous guys, and, you know, everyone's heard of Hitchcock.
Of course.
Yeah.
who never got an award, by the way.
Never got an award.
Yeah.
I tell you, man, that's criminal. That really
It
is.
really is. His stuff was just, man.
North by Northwest, one of the best movies ever made.
Oh, yeah. The House was still cool, too. I mean, love The House.
Sure. These directors, some of them have an agenda. Some of them are just there because they just love filmmaking.
Yeah, like making movies.
Yeah, making movies. Sometimes the movie that they're making is influenced, and then the director will fight with the production company or whatever, and goes back and forth. And we're going to talk a little bit about Kubrick.
Creative license. Oh yeah, Kubrick.
Yeah, because he didn't necessarily want to go by the book.
Yeah.
Question:
Okay.
Is Hollywood satanic? Just a question.
Yeah.
I thought I'd just pop that in right now before we go to the next part.
Yeah. Well, it's a good question, because if you look at, for example, the name Hollywood, right? Hollywood. Yeah, not only just magic, but among the ancients, they believed that if a branch of the holly tree was thrown at any animal, it had the property of compelling the animal to return and lie down next to it.
Yeah.
See, magical wood, right? So Hollywood, even used by the Druids, right, to make their magic wands. We see, Moses with his, cane and all that. His staff, yep. Harry Potter's wand, right? Also made from Hollywood. Mickey Mouse with the magical wand we talked about earlier with the
Fantasia.
Star. Yep, Fantasia. Exactly. So
1938.
we're all under the influence of this magic wand, right? And even when you look at things like
we're under a spell.
Yeah, exactly. And even a conductor of a orchestra has the wand, right?
Yeah, never thought of that.
Directing,
yes,
with each move,
and people following.
Yeah. So these people are called directors, right? Because they're directing. Producers, because they're
producing.
There's a lot of double entendres going on.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You're so right. Yeah. The reason I asked this question is because when you think of it, are movies programming? Are they instilling fear, horror, disinformation? Are they promoting vices?
Yeah.
Are they promoting a lifestyle that's alternate, that's maybe not in step with God? That's a pretty easy yes.
Yeah.
Did they introduce alternate deviant behavior way back when in these movies? Sure. Yeah, the first introduction anybody was exposed to, drugs, sex, alcohol, debauchery.
Yeah.
Debauchery.
What a great word. I love that word.
I always throw that at you.
Yeah. And I always love it.
Yeah. But alternate behavior and, unfortunately, child manipulation, pedophilia, all this stuff has all been brought out through movies. And whether you agree or not, but the total gay agenda was brought forth through Hollywood and Studio 54, which was a movie too.
Yeah.
Now, whether you subscribe or not, hey, we're just here to report. We're not saying this or that.
Right.
But if you look at it, it's all been part of us seeing it and going, hey, I'm not sure if I like that. But then after you've seen it 10 times, you kind of just brush it off like it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But now it's been incorporated into society. And a lot of people feel like this is getting away from the family values.
Yeah. It's like you want to make a point, make a movie, right?
Yeah.
And then just lay it all out in the film.
Unfortunately, if you are an independent person and you want to make a movie, good luck.
Not going to
try to get it out. It's not going to happen. Yeah. Try to get funding.
Yeah.
Try to get, even if you make it, where are you going to show it?
Right.
On YouTube?
Because you can't get into the theaters.
Well, you'd never be in
the releasing companies aren't going to deal with you.
The movies that are in the theaters shouldn't even be in the theaters at this point.
Right, but it's a big business.
Theaters are. I think
And by the way, just to mention this, it's probably just out there, but no one understand that when you go to a movie theater to watch a movie, and you're paying like $8 for a bag of popcorn, there's a really good reason for that, because the theater is promising to the film company a particular percentage of the gate, so to speak, to run those first run films, right? So maybe for the first 2 weeks, they've pledged to the movie company, which ultimately becomes the investors, that 100% of the ticket money purchased at the theater is going to the movie people. Theater doesn't get anything.
They get a very small percentage.
Yeah, but in some cases, if it's a big enough film and you're a first run movie house, you're going to give them 100%. So the only way you're going to pay your bills is through sodas and popcorn. Yeah. So that's why the concession prices are so
that's
high.
why when I go to the movies, the tickets like $14 and the popcorn and the Coke is $14.
It's like $14. Yeah, exactly.
So to go by myself, it's like $30.
Yeah,
now.
and if you go to a movie theater that runs like second
it.
run films or whatever,
Yeah.
you'll notice also the concessions are a little bit less money there.
But your feet also stick to the floor. In
They
those
do,
theaters.
yeah.
And I don't want to know what's
Yeah, you want to bring
causing it
like a
sticking.
mat to sit on or something.
Oh, gosh. Okay. But we cannot dispute the fact that movies influence our life. They influence our culture,
The world over.
our attitude, our fashion, our dress, our hair, our music, the way we act. Put it this way, the Beatles were huge.
Yeah.
If they weren't on Ed Sullivan, they wouldn't have been as huge.
Yep.
Not saying that's a movie, but the whole film,
Yep.
the whole filming it and then packaging it and then presenting it.
Yep.
It has a profound effect on us. It's immediate.
Sure, and it's also
instantaneous.
multilingual.
Yeah.
You don't some of our movies, meaning films made here, play to a different audience overseas, and in some cases either flop or are even more successful.
Yeah.
You know?
But today's movies specifically sculpt how you think.
Yeah.
It's all social engineering, you know?
Sure.
I mean,
that's a good word for it.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. I mean, they're engineering your brain to think a certain way.
Yeah.
And so if you see a movie and you think it's going to go one direction and may go the other, you're going to go, oh, okay, well, maybe it can go like that. And then it kind of opens up your mind, but it may not be the right way of thinking.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
and there's numerous examples, and it's too short of a show to get everything in here.
Yeah.
But what I would like to do is there's a couple years, since we're talking about the history, that were significantly profound in movie making, meaning there were certain years that many movies came out that were like just huge nameplate movies. And so there's some years that, just iconic for movie making.
Same with the musicals too.
So, we already kind of went through the talkies and
the
now
early stages.
But the first year where and you've heard most of these movies, 1939, and it's funny, I surmised this myself, and then I looked it up and it was reconfirmed. But I always knew in my own mind, every time I would see these movies made in 39, I'm like, oh my gosh. So Gone with the Wind, Wizard of Oz, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, Goodbye, Mr. Chips, Gandhi. Gunga Din, not Gandhi. Gandhi
It's like, wow, that was a remake?
It might have been. Actually, that was original Gandhi.
Yeah, exactly. It should have been a remake.
Stagecoach with Wayne. Wuthering Heights.
Oh, yeah.
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Wow, this is all 39?
Dude, it's all 30.
Wow, that's crazy.
And the list goes on and on. And I couldn't even mention all of them. The fact is that just Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's so well done.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. I still don't think that's Clark Gable's best movie.
Yeah.
I
Doesn't have to be.
No.
Because Scarlett and Tara.
Yeah.
The house was just magnificent. Even though it was a backlot and there was nothing to it, but it was magnificent.
And that movie truly, when you saw the fire and the cinematography, it was like it leaped off the screen and the colors.
Yeah.
Just everything was just wow.
Speaking of color, 1939 with Wizard of Oz.
Well, there you go. So now we get into the color movies because everything up to about, I'm not sure when the first color movie was, but it was kind of 37, 38. But then these movies, all of a sudden when movies came into color,
Technicolor.
Bam! Yeah. Wow! But guess what? Not all movies were made in color.
No.
After that, in fact, very few were.
It was expensive.
It was very expensive. You had to have a hit on your hands.
Yep.
If you were in the drafting room saying we're going to do this movie, or we're going to do it in color and black and white, and it's amazing because when you really got into the '60s, there were still black and white movies, and they were even done on a lower grade film.
Yeah.
It almost looks at like a high school guy,
right? Like Super 8.
Yeah, Super 8.
Yeah.
Was made. When you look at the quality of some of these movies, back in the 30s and 40s, it pales.
And it had to be. The camera qualities, like for going back to Wizard of Oz, the transition from black and white to color in the middle of the film. if the quality wasn't there, it wasn't going to work. I remember, seriously, I was talking with Buddy Ebsen many years ago before he passed, and he was telling me he was the original
Scarecrow?
Oh
no, he was
Tin Man.
Tin Man.
Yeah, he was the original Tin Man, and
but he wasn't in the movie.
He's in all the far shots of the Tin Man because he got very, very sick from the aluminum paint that they put, on his skin.
Yeah,
and literally almost died. He ended up in the hospital with.
It's like the
poisoning.
girl from Goldfinger.
Yeah,
who was
exactly.
painted. They painted all her skin.
Yeah,
and she almost suffocated. And they say you have to leave a spot on the back of the spine so you don't. Suffocate your skin, but she got critical for a while.
That's crazy.
So you got to be careful.
But he was saying how when they're filming this and everything, you see it, you're really not involved in the movie, even though you're in it.
Right.
But he said when he went to the theater and saw it, and it went from black and white to color, he said it was just something that you can't even imagine. He looked around in the theater at the looks on the people's faces the first time they'd seen something like that. It was just people were dumbfounded.
Well, that movie as a child had major impact on me.
And even more now as an adult because now I know what it was about,
Yeah, and it's all programming. In fact, Wizard of Oz is one of the top movies, and we don't have to get into what it does, but if you watch it, it's sending messages, and it's sending it to you on all levels.
Yeah.
Very creative, very behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Somebody knew what they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
And if you think any of this happens by happenstance, sorry, I'm not buying it.
No.
You buying it?
No.
I'm not buying it.
Sorry. Not even with your money.
No. Not even with anybody's money.
Right.
So just a quick few more major years of movies.
So 39 was big time.
39 was To Catch Me Out, baby.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of movies, I'm not going to go through them. 55 was a big year. 74, which had Godfather 2. Godfather 1 was 72, but around that time period.
Right.
And then we come to 1999. So we know what 999 is.
Of course.
Upside down. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, and here's really, this was, the programming movies have been all along.
Yeah.
But I would say the late 90s is where it really got into high gear.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Some of them are beneficial. Some of them are detrimental.
Yeah.
To watching.
Polarity.
And you got to take out what you got to take out. But in 1999, Matrix, Fight Club, Sixth Sense, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And The Iron Giant, which was a kind of cartoon one, which made major impact. And then, I wouldn't say that I can't remember which year the Jim Carrey was. What was it? It was what was that movie called?
Which one?
Yeah, The Truman Show.
Oh,
yeah,
God,
The Truman Show.
The Truman
yeah.
Show.
So I think that was kind of around that time period.
Filmed on location.
I don't think it was
Florida.
99.
Beautiful place.
Yeah,
but scary.
The movie's scary.
Yeah,
the
movie.
Yeah. And then most recently, 2007, I consider the last great year for movies.
Okay.
So, a couple movies that were made that year were truly masterpieces. There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
And No Country for Old Men, which was, you have to watch that a couple times because it's quirky.
Okay.
But and I think Tommy Lee Jones's acting is a little underrated.
Yeah.
And then movies like 300, American Gangster were all 2007. But since then,
by the way, Tommy Lee Jones was roommates with Al Gore at Harvard.
I did not know that.
Seriously, and they actually started a country music band together while they were in school. Sorry, little trivia.
Doesn't make me like him any better. How's that global warming coming for you?
Right?
Yeah. You feel it?
No. Sorry. Yep.
Okay.
That'll be for another
he
show.
Said
I have a lot to say.
He said we had 12 years.
So
completely off topic.
Yeah.
We're way past 12 years.
Yeah, way past.
Okay. Maybe we'll get another 12.
Maybe. It's a deal. 2 for 1.
Right. But, and then during this time, just when you got to the 60s, the difference was independent filmmaking. Yeah. Like The Graduate was like just someone said, hey, I'm going to do this radical movie. And it had some really, really kind of racy subjects.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Crazy themed subjects and stuff. He's sleeping with the mother, he's sleeping with the daughter. I mean, come on.
Yep. And this was
plastics.
like 67.
Plastics.
Plastics, yeah.
Plastics. So and
that was
so,
Simon and Garfunkel did the
Yeah.
the
and
music.
and then again, that's where they were really melding. I mean, they're always melding music with movies, but then that's where soundtracks kind of came about, and you could go out and buy the album.
Right.
The album.
Another,
Remember the album?
Another profit center.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
So yeah, it really is. And like The Graduate, just to quickly, they sold the takeaways are they sold a car, the Alfa Romeo Graduate. The car became The Graduate.
Right.
So the influence, the music,
Yep.
Simon and Garfunkel,
Yeah.
A Bridge Over Troubled Waters,
Yep.
sleeping around with different people,
Yep.
the introduction of injection plastics into everything.
Yeah.
See, it's like right there.
Yep.
And whether you're aware of it before the movie or not, this just solidifies the messaging even more. And it's doing it in an art form where it's not even like, it's not even force-fed to you.
Right.
You're willingly open your mouth, saying and taking it all in.
Right. Kind of like some churches.
Interesting.
Sorry,
Some.
just had to, some.
Yeah.
I had to put
Yeah.
that word in. I had
But
to-
not
some.
not the message of God.
No, just some churches.
And a lot of temples.
Yes.
Now we're up to today, and I thought maybe, unless you want to go over something else, I thought I'd go down. I have an extensive list of observations, very interesting observations about movies and how they control and program us, and kind of like the messaging and stuff.
I do have just like a few little trivia
Go
items
for
that
it.
I thought were
I'd
interesting.
love to hear them. So
Okay.
go ahead.
All right. So Harrison Ford, right?
I've heard of him.
Yeah, 35 years old. He's installing a door for Francis Ford Coppola, and a studio executive asks him to
He was a
read
carpenter.
asks him to read some lines with some actresses who were testing for a new film. The movie was Star Wars.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, he's a carpenter.
But that wasn't his first movie.
No, it wasn't. He was in American Graffiti.
Graffiti was his first movie.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so was Suzanne Summers.
32
She was the one
Ford.
with the 57 T-Bird.
What a great movie.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you saw that movie?
Yes, I do remember. I was in Annandale at the theater in Annandale, Virginia.
I remember that movie specifically because they showed it in our auditorium in junior high.
Oh, wow.
The sound was so bad. It was like, I was there sitting for about an hour and a half. You couldn't hear anything because
Wow.
the sound was so bad. It was reverberating off the walls. The kid next to me was killing the kid next to him.
Yeah.
And it was just pandemonium.
Wow.
But I got to see the cars.
And you got to see the Wolfman, too.
And you got to see Wolfman Jack.
I love me some Wolfman.
I could talk like Wolfman for the rest of the day, man.
Yeah, but you won't be able to talk for the next week. Yeah. So now, Channing Tatum, okay,
Yeah.
first on-screen gig was actually bartending in the Ricky Martin video for She Bangs, okay, in 2000. Alicia Keys started off as a child actor. She was on The Cosby Show. Interview with a Vampire, the late night
that's a cool
park
movie.
scene, yeah, where Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise are walking
Yeah.
in the park. They actually built a trench for Brad to walk in so that it would seem like they were the same height. So he's walking in that trench in that movie. Tom Cruise is what, like 5'6" or something?
I did. A good day was when I found out I was taller than Tom Cruise.
There you go.
Yeah, so that was
Now,
a good day.
Tim Allen was a convicted drug dealer. Did you know that?
Yeah, I heard that he had a rough time.
Yeah, he was
before.
caught smuggling
Alcoholic,
1.4
too, I think.
pounds of cocaine.
In his underwear.
Yeah, at the airport.
Yeah.
Dolph Lundgren, okay,
Know him well.
who played Ivan Drago, right?
Yeah. I will break you.
He was actually a genius.
I got a lot of voices here.
You do?
Yeah.
He graduated with a degree in chemical engineering from the Royal Institute of Technology in Sweden and was awarded a Fulbright scholarship to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, to
Guy's
MIT in Boston.
Effing genius.
Right?
Yeah.
That's crazy,
So,
right?
brains and brawn.
Now, here's one, and this will probably lead into something else that you have stored over there. While filming The Shining, okay?
Ooh, you're on my home turf now.
Yep. Oh, my God. What a masterpiece.
Okay.
So,
This gives me goosebumps.
Yeah. Stanley Kubrick told everyone in the cast and crew to be actively mean to Shelley Duvall.
It worked.
Yeah. So that her feeling of hopelessness and solitude would be authentic.
I heard this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And God did it work, you know?
She was emotionally, you felt
Oh, yeah.
her trauma
Yeah.
in that movie.
Oh, yeah. It was just unbelievable.
That is taking movie making to the highest level.
Red Room.
Red Room.
That's crazy.
Oh, Danny, how are you doing?
Oh, God. What a masterpiece.
Yeah. And then, hey, Jack Nichols.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, he
He nailed it.
He nailed it.
Dude, just the whole scene in
If you
in the
need a
bar.
psycho guy, he is. He's the go-to guy.
Exactly. The bar scene was amazing. Everything about that film was amazing.
Well,
even the location.
And it's just everything. And I know a lot of backstory.
Yep.
If you've never seen The Shining,
Mhm.
don't go see it because it'll scare the crap out of you. But if you can handle it, go see it because it is a masterpiece.
Not
The Shining.
that it's gory or anything.
No.
But it's a psychological thriller times 1,000.
Right.
Amazing film. But you were saying something earlier
no,
about
why we're
Kubrick.
Well, yeah, why we're on Kubrick.
Yeah.
What did he know? Okay, so here's a director
Mhm.
that directed 13 or 14 movies.
Yeah. Space Odyssey, all these things. Yeah.
Okay, so 2001: Space Odyssey, The Shining, Eyes Wide Shut,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket, and then before then, How to Love the Bomb or Doctor Strangelove. and all
Yeah,
that
Dr.
stuff.
Strangelove. Yeah.
Lolita.
Wow, I'm impressed. That's like right off the top of your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Paths of Glory, which is one of the first real anti-war movies, and he also did Spartacus, which was handed to him.
was that Kubrick?
Yeah, that was Kubrick.
He did Spartacus?
Yes, he did.
Wow.
So so everything he touched
Yeah.
was
Gold.
monument. Yeah, well, it was
Platinum.
I'm not sure if you can label a medal on it, but it had meaning, and a lot of it was trying to tell us stuff.
Sure.
And especially like Clockwork Orange.
Macabre kind of way.
Well, it was all on culture and society and who's doing what.
Yeah.
Now, some believe that he was hired,
Yeah.
to do the film for the moon landings. We've discussed this before.
Right, yeah.
We're not going to sit here and say yes or no.
Right. I wasn't there.
But I might have been.
You might have been.
I feel like I'm very connected to this guy, Kubrick. I don't know why.
Okay.
Maybe it's our heritage. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? The fact is, he knew something. He knew something about...
Lots of something.
He was very connected. He lived in England.
Mm-hmm.
He never got on a plane. He was very quiet, and it took many years between movies. And in fact, he even wanted to do Napoleon and AI, but somebody else ended up making them before he could make them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he actually had more movies, but he would do things so methodically, and it would take a long time that he would have years span between movies.
Yeah, it was always epic, like Cecil B. DeMille,
Right.
His stuff was epic.
It was.
And Kubrick, again, epic, but in a...
And whenever I hear DeMille, I always think of Sunset Strip, 1950, William Holden.
Yeah.
And
which became a TV series also.
Yeah.
70s. I'm sorry, I'm getting crud in my neck here.
I'm ready for my close-up.
Right. Right, exactly.
So these are just iconic, but to finish up on Kubrick, just too many weird dates, coincidences, and all this. We could do a whole thing on it. Maybe we will, but I just want to leave it with that. He knew what was going on behind the scenes. I think he knew about the child pedophilia rings. He knew about the elite, the blood.
Yeah.
He knew about like an Eyes Wide Shut. I think he put it all out there.
Yeah.
And 6 days right after that movie
Yeah.
is canned and done and sent to the producers.
Mm-hmm.
He's dead.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is it was 666 days from 2001.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the timing and everything of when the movie was released. It was 66 days between that and when the 2001. It's just like,
wow.
It's just all kind of weird, spooky stuff.
And you know what I just thought of while we were talking about this is Stanley Kubrick.
Mm-hmm.
Shining was filmed in the Stanley Hotel, as well as the Overlook. In fact, when I was in Oregon, I literally tried to drive to the Overlook Hotel because I wanted to see it, And I got halfway up Mount Hood. The snow was just so bad. And I just come from the beach. This is the thing about Oregon. So I had to turn around and come back down. Yeah. So I never made it to either one of them.
The exterior shots of the Overlook Hotel, they didn't use the interior. The interior
the
was all
was
different.
Stanley, right?
Yeah, well, the interior was, some of it was even, I believe, a set. And
Okay.
the layout didn't make sense. It's just too much.
Yeah, but it was definitely 70s.
It definitely,
The carpeting and just the whole vibe of the hotel.
Yeah, and I'll leave the last thing that he left a lot of messaging in that movie also about the genocide of American Indians. I believe Stanley was a very conscious individual.
Yeah.
Not only probably with a 200 IQ, but a guy that was compassionate deep down inside.
Mm-hmm.
He loved animals.
Yeah.
I think he was an empath.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
And this was a great venue for him to.
Well, he was a photographer
to tell
start
stories.
with.
Yeah, to tell these stories that with a deeper hidden meaning, and
best-
sometimes not hidden. Sometimes it's just like right there.
The best directors have an eye for how to set the shot up, kind of like Orson Welles.
Yeah, with
And-
the top of the corner look and things that nobody had done before.
And Citizen Kane, 1941, didn't quite make that 39 time frame because took him a long time to make that
But
movie,
close
but
enough.
close enough. But some will say that's the greatest,
Greatest movie ever made.
Rosebud.
Yeah.
Greatest movie ever made.
Yeah.
And I never get bored watching it. It
Nope.
was just on the other night. So here are some observations.
Observation.
And pipe in anytime you want.
Okay.
Okay. I've never heard this before. This is brand new.
Okay.
I've come up with this myself.
Oh, okay.
If you watch just about every movie nowadays that's sci-fi, action, even if it's not drama, just go across the board, maybe even comedy.
Yeah.
With about 15 to 20 minutes left in the movie, you'll hear this line. It's over. It's over. Trust me. It's in practically every movie.
Really?
Yeah. It's bizarre.
Great.
It's scary. Sometimes these come at 33 minutes before the actual very, very, very end of the movie where all the titles and everything have stopped. So you usually have about 5 or
33,
6.
imagine that.
Yeah, imagine 33. So we know what that means. But that's, again, the mockery.
Yeah.
Because 33 really is a beautiful number.
Yeah.
It's 11 times 3. It's a magic number. It's a power number.
Yeah.
We talked about
Sure,
numerology.
numerology, yeah.
Yeah. And Jesus.
Gematria.
And 33
Right.
degree Masons.
Yeah, exactly.
So we know that movies have been proliferated with Illuminati, esoteric, and occult symbolisms and everything else.
Right.
Yeah. In fact,
But bad Illuminati, not good Illuminati. Which is
if
for
there
a
is
whole
a
other
good
show.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
but why does every movie have this tagline? It's
I don't
just
know.
yeah,
It's over.
It's over. Check it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, I was just watching a Nick Cage movie the other night. It's over.
Wow.
It's not over. It's over. It's they're fighting about whether it's over, but they
Yeah, I
make
was
sure-
thinking Belushi. Was it over when? Yeah.
Yeah, is it over when? Another great movie.
Oh, yeah.
That one makes you laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't make them like that
No,
anymore.
they don't. They just
There's a
they
couple
don't.
comedies that come out, but they're just
But that was masterpiece.
Yeah.
And it didn't take much to make a masterpiece, really. I mean, you know me with the whole Smokey and the Bandit thing. I love Smokey and the Bandit. Movies like that are just fun.
And you go back and you watch them now, and they're even better than when they were back then.
Yeah.
Like Smokey and the Bandit, the original one.
Yeah, and they're so
Great.
imperfect. You can see all the
Yeah,
mistakes.
it
And
doesn't
but
matter.
It doesn't matter.
Well, Burt
It's
Reynolds is
magical.
just, he's,
Burt was a man.
you and I hold him in high regard, but he was never, he just was never considered to be like, the great actor, but he was.
Right.
He really was.
Oh, yeah, especially
he had a
in
certain
numbers.
genre.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, he crushed it at the box office.
Absolutely.
But just because you crush it at the box office doesn't mean that you're considered an artiste in
and
your
it's a shame
field.
because he went from comedy to things like Sharky's Machine.
I can't see. Yeah, he did comedy, but he never did like stand up.
No,
Yeah.
but funny movies because he had this great sense of humor.
Well, he was a hell of a good-looking guy
Yeah,
back in the
great-looking
day
guy.
before he lost his hair.
Yeah, and then the whole football thing and everything,
Sure.
for this being super jock,
Yeah.
But he was also very intense.
Do you know who the first person he slept with in Hollywood?
No, I don't.
Diana Shore.
Really?
Yep. That's
so that
true
started,
story.
So
Yeah.
that was yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Because I know he was with Diana Shore for a long time.
You should hear him tell the story. He's like, this older woman, hot actress,
Yeah.
liked me, and she took me back. And he's like, when I drove off, I was like, woohoo! Like typical Burt Reynolds.
I could
like,
see that,
He was like, yeah, baby, this
Yeah.
kind of thing. So,
Wow. And he was one for like all of these long-term relationships,
yeah.
but never really truly settled in.
No,
you know?
no. I think his true love though was Sally Field.
Yeah, I believe
One
so
of them.
too.
Yeah. The chemistry on film was
Magical.
it was.
Must
there
have
you go
had
with
a
that
wand there.
Your stupid word, magical. I think it was the Trans Am, baby.
Oh yeah, that was magical too.
That was very magical. 6.6 liter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Special edition. Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Sweet. But I haven't said that in a long time. That was an old 80s thing we used to do. Sweet. Things aren't as sweet as they used to be.
No, they're not. So these movie making, these magical. There we go again. That magical movies.
Yeah, you got to get
are
off that word.
Just like not really existed anymore like they once were. We're in a slump here.
Yeah. I got some more observations.
Let's go.
Okay. movie logos and intros.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Okay. They all have a world theme. Pretty much all of them. Universe, world.
Right.
The old ones had a plane flying.
Yeah,
then
yeah.
it was like the stars, clouds, it's like universal and it's just all programming, Earth, space, right?
Oneness.
Certainly not God-centric.
Yeah.
Right? But they're kind of pushing out like that, hey, you're 1 in a billion. You have no power. Maybe there is aliens out there. Who knows? But it's all space and this kind of agenda.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird
to
connect the dots.
And for so long.
And this all brings us back to very Illuminati type based messaging. Like what are they trying to sell us?
Right.
Or tell us.
Or make us.
Or make us. Or brainwash us. So just wanted to bring that. Movies of today, predominant theme. Artificial intelligence and its conflict with man. So a great movie that comes to mind is like I, Robot with Will Smith.
Right.
Yeah. That might have been 98. It's around there.
Yeah,
it's around that 99 time frame.
Back
but
there.
yeah,
It's old.
Great movie. If you haven't seen it, go out and watch it. Yeah. I think it's one of his better movies. I like I Am Legend, but that's a good movie. And but this artificial intelligence is a predominant theme now in everything, and what they're doing is they're trying to tell you as a person, as a human being, are not perfect.
Right.
You need technology. You need medicine in your body. You need this. You need that. You need to conform. This is dangerous because it's changing everybody.
Yeah.
And it's make it seem like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to be half robotic.
Yeah.
It's not. Sorry, that's not how we were born.
No, and we're getting all these negative images too, like, you should this and you should that and you should this and you should that.
And they're telling us that,
like a friend of mine once said, stop shooting on me, because you should or you shouldn't. Either way, we're being told what to do, how to be, and how it's going to be.
They're taking out the human out of humankind. And they're telling you you're better off with this.
Yeah.
Who's to say that's the case? And on the surface, it's very appealing. Oh, well, the easeability of having all this.
Yeah.
I'd love to have my eye scanned or just put my finger on something and gain access.
Yep.
But is this truly, do you want somebody cutting off your finger and using that to access the panel? See, this is where this is going.
Well, and we saw I think it was in Demons and Wizards, with the CERN machine, and the eye actually tore the guy's eye out to use to open the door.
Right.
Because of the iris recognition, right?
It reminds me of Blade Runner with the guy's eyes, and he it's very symbolic when he punches out his eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? It's insane.
That's Illuminati conditioning. Blade Runner. That's another one. That's crazy. But these movies depict how they want us to live. They're creating lifestyles. They're selling us an image. Again, with the deviant behavior, saying it's okay, it's really disgusting, and it seems like so innocent, or it's not so bad, but it's getting us way off. And I think we came into this probably more so in the 60s, but it's really ratcheted up, as of late.
Well, what's really interesting with this, just to add to this particular item, there is a computer program. I forgot its name. It has a name and a title. And what it does is it continues to scan social media and everything that's online and news and newspapers and everything, and basically extracts data from what people are seeing, hearing, reading, talking about, and then forms a prediction of the future based upon current thought patterns.
Right. And if you haven't seen it, 1984, I hear the book is sold out.
Really? Still?
Yeah.
Wow.
You can't find it. I have several copies. I have originals, later copies, but people are waking up. Yeah. Don't you think?
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
is the Great Awakening.
It is.
And
it's a wonderful time to be alive.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I really, really hope so.
Yeah, because when the bottom falls out, we won't be here, so it's all good.
But see, that's the point. People need to stand up and say enough.
Yeah.
So that way our children and our children's children have green grass and trees to look at.
But in order to do that, we have to break this recycling and this cycling of programming.
Yeah. Well, the programming, I mean, they're leaving clues, and some of it hidden, and guess what? Some not so hidden.
Right.
Some are, bam, right there in your face.
Which is the best place to hide something.
Because you would never think to look there.
Right.
But there's messaging in political, the globalists, the New World Order agenda. I mean, all this stuff where kumbaya, come together, everyone loves each other. You know, that on the surface, again, the message seems nice.
Yeah.
But it's how they manipulated you to get to that point, and then what happens afterwards. Because once you buy into the system, then they say, oh, by the way, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, guess what? You have to give us everything.
Right.
All your money, all your time, all your health, all your energy, and you owe that to the state.
Yeah.
You are not an individual anymore. You are a number.
Yep.
And what you think and what you care about and the thoughts and the love vibration that you want to, embrace is no longer there for you to
No,
have.
because you're chattel and inventory.
Yeah. So,
and we've given you a number.
It's a dangerous precedent where we're going.
Yeah.
And it's the disconnection from us being us.
Yeah.
And where are we going to be? And who are we then at that point?
Yeah.
So I don't mean to slow things down, but I'd like to really put a nice big
Yeah, it's fine. You
yield.
have another observation here.
I don't know. Right? I mean, who knows? There's a couple movies that I feel that, as a wrap up on my end, big messaging movies that I'm going to put out there. And if you can think of anything, but these are messaging movies that tell the truth. Meaning, if you look at them, you may not see it on its surface, but they're blatant messaging that will give you truth and not disinformation. So if you're paying attention, it actually takes you where maybe you need to go. Okay. So not in any specific order, but I'm going to throw out Network, 1976. Yep. Again, William Holden.
I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore.
I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. This movie woke people up.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I remember seeing it in the theater.
Oh.
And I might have even walked out on it because it wasn't
No.
It wasn't a message I was ready to hear.
No. And that's the beautiful thing about movies. You can watch a movie at a certain age and then watch it again when you're a little bit older and then watch it again. Good movies will speak to you as, like we talked how the Bible does, or good books or good music.
Right.
Will bring layers of complexity and understanding as you progress through your life, as you consciously become awake.
Right.
They tell you more and more. So on the surface, I would have walked out of 2001 Space Odyssey unless I was tripping on acid or something the first time, too, because I thought it was extremely boring.
Yeah,
now I am compelled to watch every single second of it because it's just the colors and the music is just...
And Hal.
Yeah. Yeah. How you doing today?
Yeah. All right. You're just like, okay, that's pretty scary now.
Hal, open the hatch. Hal, open the hatch, Hal.
Masterpiece.
Yeah.
So many masterpieces. Okay, go ahead.
Matrix 99 we talked about.
God,
okay, so this is
please.
big messaging movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huge. A very Gnostic film, too. There's a lot of Gnostic Christianity that's embedded in throughout the entire film. And also Kabbalah. There are a lot of Kabbalah messages in there.
There's tons of Kabbalistic messaging in all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And more movies than others.
Yep.
I will also, since, we don't want to go way, we could talk about every movie under earth. I will throw out this. The Bond movies are very important.
Yeah.
From the first to the last.
Yeah. Not only because they're badass, but because they have...
not only because they're some of the best badass movies that are Thunderball.
Tom Jones sang the theme song for Thunderball.
Well, I love Goldfinger and Live and Let Die is just, that's when I was young and it was like one of the first Bond movies I saw.
That was the Roger Moore film.
And then, Paul McCartney singing Live and Let Die.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just the whole package.
Yeah.
But what the Bond movies show and telegraph is technology. And they also telegraph elite and certain things, even in the banking, political arena, everything. It touches so many different things, and especially like the newer ones with Daniel Craig.
Yeah, Daniel Craig,
Even now.
Yeah.
If you watch it.
Yeah, you never caught James Bond at Cracker Barrel. It was always something, and it was very worldly, too.
But if he was, he'd be dressed immaculately
Absolutely.
in a dinner coat and tuxedo.
With a martini.
Of course. Yeah, shaken, not stirred. Jinx.
Yep.
So,
I'm glad you brought up Bond, because how can we talk about movies without Ian Fleming?
Who was Ian Fleming? Do you know?
Other than the writer?
Yeah. He wasn't a writer.
Oh, he wasn't a writer?
No.
Oh, God. What did I get into now?
He's MI5 spy.
Is he?
Yes.
Seriously? Like for real?
For real.
Really?
Absolutely.
Under that name? Or is
No.
that a pseudonym?
He was a spy.
Wow.
He was a spy writer.
I never heard that before.
No, yeah. That's what I believe.
Wow.
And someone out there proved me wrong, because I'm almost confident that he was James Bond.
Really?
Yes.
So it was autobiographical.
Very much so. And that's where it comes down to. The best things that are ever created are through the experiential evidence or experience of that individual.
Wow.
Because they can write about
This
it
is
and
like
talk
an
about it.
eye-opening thing now, man. You
Sure.
you saved this for the last few minutes of the show?
Yeah, I can see your eyes getting real big, and your third eye is just really.
Oh, yeah, because now I got to go watch every movie again and with a different.
It's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
But movies are. Listen, we talk about all the the evil and stuff in them. I like to just see good movies. Unfortunately, at this point, with my awakenedness,
Yeah.
I have a hard time sitting back. So what I do is I'll watch a movie.
Yeah.
If I feel it has heaviness to it,
Right.
I watch it more intently. Some movies I just watch,
Yeah.
for the fun of it.
Yeah.
But even like an Iron Man or something like that movie, it's almost too much messaging. I'm always looking for the underlying meaning and looking for stuff, hidden messaging, and why this and why this.
Yeah, so you
even the
haven't enjoyed
lines.
the movie when
So
you're
it's
too
hard
busy
to
with that.
enjoy because I'm kind of like
Yeah.
on another level of taking
I'm
it
also
in.
like being an empath like you. I can't do war.
I'm not going to be an
war
empath
films.
anymore. I can't handle it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's a heavy load.
It
but
is.
I can't do war movies. I just can't. Except for Guns of Neverone. That was just that was
Best war
awesome.
movie though is Full Metal Jacket, and then there's a couple other ones,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I have a hard time with that. Just personally. Thank you. This was amazing. I knew it was going to be a fun show.
are you going to say cut?
No. Not
Cut?
Yet.
Not yet.
No,
Okay.
because we're going to have an alternate ending.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Well,
that's right.
It
Yeah.
makes for a better movie.
Yeah,
right?
ending A or ending B. What are we going to do?
Let's do A first.
Are we going to do the happy Americanized ending?
Exactly.
Where everybody, ta-da, is perfect? Or are you going to do the European depressed ending where you die of syphilis or something?
Right, you
Something
go have
horrible.
some Earl Grey somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but that's the beauty of the movie. Which movie was it? Clue, that was released with like 3 alternate endings.
Yeah, and then depending on what movie theater you went to.
Yeah.
And guess what? It bombed. It was
Did it,
just
though?
really, yeah, because people would talk about the movie and say, hey, did you see it? Yeah. Well, that's not my ending. Your ending was different.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
It was a very strange. It was a very strange.
Well,
thing.
if we live long enough, we'll see everything. And I think we're almost to that point, because I can tell you this. The novelty of movies, at least for some of us, is kind of wearing off in that I've probably seen just about everything kind of movie.
Yeah.
I am not surprised by really much of anything.
Yeah.
Like the Blair Witch Project.
Yep.
That surprised me, but I don't want to watch it again.
Yeah.
Because it's just too weird.
Yeah.
Too out there.
Yeah.
And the ending just scared the crap out of me. Even more than The Shining.
Yeah.
I don't like horror movies because I always feel that the purpose for me is to go somewhere. And I
Yeah.
want to go to my happy place.
Yeah.
Like
not-
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. Not Camp Crystal Lake with Jason Voorhees. Right?
No.
Yeah. So I'm with you on that.
Or the guy in the Halloween movies. What's his name?
Yeah. Michael Myers.
Michael Myers. Mike Myers.
Yeah. With
or
the,
Michael Myers.
Do you know that mask was
The hockey mask?
yeah, the hockey mask thing. As that began to progress,
Yeah.
then there was another part of that mask that was actually had to do with the face of James T. Kirk.
Really?
Yeah, it was molded after that particular face. It's kind of bizarre, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Goonies, come on. Love Goonies. I just had to throw that out. I didn't think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, you were okay with Goonies or no?
I'm going to throw out Howard Hughes' Hell's Angels.
Okay,
That was a really cool movie.
yeah.
The fact
Was
that
that
it was
Fonda? Who was in that? I'm
it
lost
was
now.
Howard Hughes was this was back in the 30s, his
Okay.
original, but they filmed this movie
Yeah.
and did it all, and then when the talkies came in, they said, oh well, we're going to scrap our 3 years of filming it and redo it again. So it took 5 years to make the movie.
Wow.
But that just I just wanted to wrap up with that because a true artist wants to get it right.
Yeah.
And they're not in it for profitability.
Mhm.
And they're not in it for conditioning or
Yeah.
mind control. They're pure artists.
Right.
And maybe
which is why so many of the greatest films never made any money.
Yeah, they didn't. Some of them did.
Yeah.
Some of them didn't. I think we can pretty much go with the cut ending now, unless there's anything to add.
Yeah, the only thing to add is I wonder where the media is going to take us, and I don't mean mainstream media. I mean the actual media form.
The next incarnation of what movies and movie making is going to be.
We did film, we did home movie stuff, then we did videotapes, then we did DVDs, and now Netflix and online stuff, Amazon and all this. What's going to be, the next thing? And like you said a few minutes ago, when you're watching a movie, and now the realism of things taking place in a movie has gone above and beyond really doing it now.
Yeah.
So where do you go from there? I mean, when you're, jumping out of an airplane without a parachute and you land on top of an antenna and slide down that into the building and it happens to have an open window and then you land on a sofa.
Just like Buster Keaton would do.
Right. And all of a sudden you just go, wow, I can see that happening,
Or
even though it's impossible.
Yeah.
But we've now brought the impossible into a place of normal.
Yeah.
So where do we go from there?
Well, this is a great point to end on, because where do we go from there? Are we going to be continued to be conditioned and subservient to the mass media industrial complex of the movies?
Yep.
Or are we going to wake up and become a new age? I shouldn't use that. No, new age is not good. A new frontier of independent, artsy filmmaking, where the medium, and it won't be YouTube or anything else, but it'll almost be like iMovie, where people can make movies and put them out there.
Yeah.
And somehow, maybe depending on hits or
like
something,
back to basics, back to the garage.
Yeah, yeah. Where, like when they first made cars, there's 200 car companies. When they first made movies, there's a whole gazillion movie companies, and they all consolidated it down to 5 or 6.
Right.
So this is where the narrowness, when we say narrow, that means narrow-mindedness. You're not getting the full gamut of culture.
We're back to black and white and shades instead of color.
And it's just like the political system. They want you to choose between A or B, when in effect the best system is where you have a plethora of choices and everybody just goes with what they feel is best for them.
Right.
And the most popular one will win out.
Yeah, and we're coming to the understanding that A and B are both owned by the same people.
Exactly. Well, it's just this hand or this hand are the same. Yeah. So I believe we see, if we can break free, we could have some beautiful creative movies to come. I believe that a lot of them are going to be talking about these times that we're in right now. It's going to be eye-opening movies packaged, whether entertainment-wise or, as we discussed, the kind of the program movies. But these programming movies are not going to be bad programming. They're going to be telling the truth about history and what happened in these days that we're going through right now. Yeah.
So you're saying it might be magical?
Oh, there's that word again. But then again, you walk on Hollywood Boulevard and you see all the stars and Grauman's Chinese Theater. I still call it Grauman's Chinese Theater because that's when I was there.
Right.
It was magical.
Yeah.
I mean, going to Hollywood is.
Yeah.
And for some it still is. But I today I couldn't take it.
Yeah, but it's illusory.
I'd walk down the street and see, more men in dresses than suits. So listen, if that's your taste, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just didn't grow up with that.
Yeah.
Don't hate me because I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm accepting. I'll go up and love those people and hug them. But just because I don't want to wear it, maybe it was a really comfortable one, like maybe out of velour or something.
Yeah, it's like a velour toga or something. You start look back on the Romans and their
they did
their
have
robes.
comfort.
Yeah, I mean they had to be really comfy.
Yeah.
Imagine
And
going
loose.
to work in your bathrobe. It's,
Yeah.
All right, let's leave it on that. Thank you. This is
Thank you. And this is a wrap and a cut.
Absolutely.
Right?
Print it.
Print it. Have a good one.
You too.
You've been listening to Quantum Flow Radio. Email us online at quantumflowradio@gmail.com.